Now I see that we can start this webinar. Okay. So let me introduce very briefly. So I'm a Swapnil Soni, marketing, working with the Softtech Engineers Limited. Today we are going to talk about a webinar that is CivitBUILD AI-driven construction ERP software, revolutionizing construction lifecycle management with AI software powered solutions. So CivitBUILD is one of our flagship ERP suite of the products that our team will be taking up further. Let me quickly introduce you to the speakers for the day. So we have with us Mr. Dijo Jose. He's a regional director and he is from the Middle East and Africa region. We also have with us Kashyap Chaturvadila. He is a vice president, product and the strategy. And we also have the Premnath Basava, who is a vice president for the deliveries. I request now Dijo to take up this session and guide us further in terms of the CivitBUILD as well as the soft tech. Yeah, over to you, Dijo.
So let's start this section with a brief introduction to SoftTech. SoftTech is a software house that develops enterprise solutions for the AEC industry. Our solution caters to the different stakeholders involved in the construction project lifecycle and are developed by experts from the construction industry. We have multiple solutions that addresses the requirements to B2G, B2B, as well as B2C, catering to the government and semi-government business entities like contractors or subcontractors or turnkey subcontractors, moreover with architects and consultants. In addition, we do provide the BIM as well as the GIS services to the respective stakeholders within the AEC industry. Our renowned products include CivitPermit, an automated building plan approval system that addresses the challenges for governments and semi-government entities for the building approval. Moreover, we have the enterprise construction ERP solution called CivitBUILD that takes care of the needs for the build stage for the contractors, especially for contractors and developers in the region. We will talk about that in the upcoming slides in detail. Before getting into the next slide, we talk about the Civit Infra, a solution that addresses the requirements for the project management lifecycle for the infrastructure and smart city project developments. We do have a product called Civit Operate, the product that addresses the sustainability requirements within the AEC industry. Let's have some brief on the current status of the construction industry as of date. While construction industry is a massive global sector accounting for 13% of the world's GDP, despite of its size, the industry has seen minimal productivity growth over the past 2 decades. This is largely due to the slow adoption of the digital technologies, while other industries have embarked digital transformation at the rate of around 60%, but which the AEC industry, we are still less than 20% there. So how does it matter? By failing to the adoption of technologies, the industry is missing out on the unbelievable $1.6 trillion potential value for the global economy. The AEC industry is losing out on an average of 1.6, as I mentioned, and how this can be get recovered only by making use of the digital transformation for the AEC industry, just like how other industries are performing in the region. So let's focus on few of the industry challenges what we faces, especially on the AEC sector globally. Out of many, 3 important major challenges what we are facing in the sector. Major delays happens in the mega type projects. The construction industry frequently faces delays and budget overruns due to the complex projects. Unforeseen challenges like weather, the labor shortages, and the poor project management practices, which is the main common factor for most of the project delays. Moreover, the labor shortage and the rising cost are a significant challenge in the construction industry. Due to global inflation, material shortage caused by the supply chain disruption can be a reason, and the lack of skilled laborers are driving up prices and the extending project timelines, what we realize in the market as of date. The most and the major challenge what we are facing as of date with regards to the inefficient data management because of the lack of technology adopted in the AEC industry. Different organizations, different industries follows the different inconsistent data formats, more dependent on the manual processes, and poor data quality that leads to the project delays, reworks, as well as to the increased cost and the extended timeline during the project execution. While we talks to the stakeholders in the industry, out of many, this 8 points which is been key highlighted during the presentation or during our sections with the stakeholders. In time progress report not available. I'm not able to access to the cloud environment, what I mean into to my backend software. Nor timely completion of the projects are not being monitored. I'm not able to get it approved on spot whenever the request and back office team is waiting for my approval. Cost overruns and profit loss. Yes, one of the main factor. As we all aware, while we are awarded with the project, we'll be estimating for 35 to 40% margin, profit margin basically. But once you hand over the project, it end up for minus 20 or 10%. And there are multiple factors that affects to the loss of profit margin as we all doing the business to ensure that we are getting the sufficient profit margin for each project what we are involved in. Moreover, you all understand everyone works on the Excel sheet, and there is no streamlining process within the industry that ensures the cost control, moreover, the profit margins, so that the project will be successfully handed over to the building owner. There is a big gap in terms of the SOPs, not even the standard operating procedures being implemented in the organization level as of today. Real time project tracking, yes, it's another big challenge. Moreover, the timely retrieval of information for your stakeholders to take the proper decision at the right time. Do you have your information on your fingertips? No, as of date, no. So this all problems creates a big kiosk in the industry, one which it leads to an project cost overrun. Moreover, the delays are getting not able to track the exact delays, what's happening against the estimated time frame for completing the project. So that's what we introduced CivitBUILD, the smart construction management ERP software, which is a cloud-based application. As we all understand the concept of ERP, where we heard about multiple tier one ERPs in the market, but how we are different. We are an industry solution rather than an horizontal solution. So we understand what exactly the construction industry caters and expect from an ERP solution. Starts from your lead management till your P&L of the project. So how CivitBUILD is going to help you out in terms of streamlining the project management? We are going to address that one in the upcoming slides. Moreover, how it can optimize the collaboration between the multiple divisions within an organization. We talks about majorly 10 to 15 divisions within an organization, depends upon the structure as well as the complexity of the projects what you handle. So how you can get it collaborated within the team within a single software? Are you a company with multiple legal entities? If yes, rather than you dependent on multiple softwares, how you can manage within a single software? That's what we are going to get addressed in the upcoming slides again. And moreover, for your decision makers, for your stakeholders, do they have the information on their fingertips for taking the decision across the table, which is very much missing in most of the horizontal ERP solutions, which is not going to address as per the construction industry standards. As I mentioned, it's an industry solution, caters to the AEC industry, the CivitBUILD application. And the industries what we supports all the disciplines within the construction sector, includes the civil, EPCM, MEP, HVAC, for that reason. And basically the stakeholders who are going to use our application, generally the general contractors, not even the turnkey contractors, specialists or PMCs, as well as the developers. Especially for the developers, you are getting engaged in the development of construction of the project as well as getting into the leasing part of it. We have an intuitive CRM solution available within the application that gives the visibility in terms of the leasing opportunities as well as the collection requirements or the payment collection requirements for an real estate business too. So what is an ERP or an CivitBUILD ERP? What offers on your desk? Very simple. It's an end-to-end integrated platform that automates the entire process within your organization. Whether you are a general contractor, whether you are a subcontractor, or not even you are a PMC, nor even you are an developer within the ecosystem. It automates your lead process, starts from your RFP. When you receive an RFP from your consultant or an architect, you would be able to do your quantity takeoff. It can be from an Excel or it can be from a BIM model. And you can do your costing, your pricing within the system. You can generate your RFP response directly. Moreover, once you awarded with the project, you can have your internal project costing. We call it as the construction budget, as we know. And that can be get logged to ensure that the complete cost control as well as the time factors being controlled, making use of the internal project costing what you have done. It's tightly integrated with your procurement and inventory modules. Moreover, you have a full-fledged subcontractor module takes care of the different aspects of engagement with the subcontractor ecosystem. Moreover, will give you the flexibility in terms of the payment certificate as well as in terms of generating the the client sales billing part for your end customers as and when you achieve the different milestones during the project execution. And as we know, without finance module, any ERP system is useless, or I can say it will be acting as a solo system again. So ERP is about the CivitBUILD ERP gives you the flexibility to integrate all your modules directly with your finance module so that your finance team or your CFO will have the visibility in terms of the project progress as well as the cost and the estimate already estimated versus the actuals on a real-time factor. Moreover, for calculating the labor cost allocation during the estimation as well as during the project, we have a tight integration with the HR and payroll module that will give a 360-degree visibility in terms of the costing during the time of estimation versus the actual. And this gives you a complete ecosystem or a complete solution that automates, which reduces the duplicacy of the work within using the ERP application for. So when we talks about the enterprise market, when we talks about the conglomerates who are having multiple legal entities, multiple business units, what we offers with the capability of integrating with any third-party application. So for example, certain enterprise, they will be having the tier one ERP running on the global level. But for the regional entities or the subsidiaries who are dealing with the construction segment, where they would expect to have certain specific application that caters to the requirement for them. As we support the module licensing program, this will enable the customers to pick and choose the required module, what is required for their requirement, and that can be get integrated with any third-party applications, making use of the CivitBUILD open APIs available in the market. Before handing over the section to my technical team, let me showcase you some CivitBUILD ERP key facts. As of date, we talks about more than 5,000 plus users who are logging into our cloud platform to take the services from our CivitBUILD application. Moreover, 1 billion worth of projects managed from our data centers available in the different regions for the CivitBUILD applications. Moreover, the number of projects managed within the platform, the CivitBUILD platform, is more than 4,500. We talks about around 1,000 plus number of entities which is currently managed in our civil platform that enables the different customers from 10 different countries, enabling their process orientation for their construction business in a seamless manner. And moreover, 25,000 plus number of subcontractors are currently registered or getting engaged on our platform for the different customers, subcontractor engagement within the entire portfolio of their construction business. With this note, let me hand over the sections to Mr. Kashyap, who is the VP for strategy, who will be addressing on key pain areas which is getting faced and what is the problem solutions, what CivitBUILD will recommend for your audience.
Um, Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining from. Thank you, first up, Swapnil and Tijo. In specific, thank you for setting the context. Thank you for taking the audience through the background of SoftTech and also the solution portfolio that we have, and more specifically, CivitBUILD. What are the challenges that we are solving, and who are we solving those for, and what are the modules and the features that we offer? In this next segment, what we will try to attempt is to walk you through a set of questions or problem statements that we've sort of acquired over a period of time, the couple of decades that we've worked for in this industry. And these we feel are representative of the pain points of a majority of our customers. And we'll also try to lay out how CivitBuild specifically tries to solve these problems as well. Now, one thing I would like to note is these problems are not very geographic specific. Once we go over those problems, you'll understand that these are pretty much agnostic to any of the geographies and are universally applicable. So that also talks about how CivitBuild can help solve, your construction-related aspects across the globe. Now, these problems and the solutions are sort of divided into two segments. The first segment has three questions and correspondingly how CivitBuild helps solve it. And the second will have an equal number of questions. I'll take the audience through the first segment and then hand it over to Premnath, who is going to take the audience to the remaining part of this segment as well. So let's begin with the first problem statement that we've noticed in this construction industry. When we are, trying to start the process of this whole construction ERP, right? It usually starts at the top where the contractor who is using a tool or he's going about his business even without a tool, the first challenge that he faces is how am I going to bid on a project in the right way, win the job before even I start the execution of the project, right? And that is where the challenge really starts. Now, this is not a very easy challenge, as most of the contractors on this call would attest. It's a very fine balance between being too conservative in your cost estimate and not winning the project because you've not submitted a competitive bid versus you go very aggressively trying to get the job without understanding the risks. And then it sets you up, no matter how hard you try in terms of your project execution, the project doesn't end up being very profitable, right? So it's a very tricky question. And let us see how CivitBuild tries to address, these challenges well. The one good part, and that you'll realize as we go over these, question answers, and also maybe the modules that Dijo explained in the previous segment, you will understand that the depth of the solution and the breadth are pretty unique. And this is a very industry specific tool. So by understanding the problems of the clients and building a very industry specific solution, we've, I believe, have been able to address a lot of these challenges and help contractors be very accurate and uniform in creating their bid. Now, there are three aspects to this, right? The first one is there should be a standardization in whoever is trying to build this cost estimate across your organization. Now, as everybody would agree, as we are scaling, the first thing that you would want to do is to have a control or have a standardization in terms of how everybody is doing any process, and more specifically building a bid process, right? So building that knowledge repository, standardizing the line items, all of that stuff, it's very easy in CivitBuild and it allows you to do it seamlessly. Now, the second aspect of how does a contractor go about creating a bid that is credible, that is competitive, and helps him win the job, and also sets him up for a successful project execution, is the ability to break down the cost items into the granular aspects of it. And when I say granular aspects, I mean the labor, the material, and the equipment. And as all the contractors on the call would also attest, that there are not a lot of tools around that actually are able to successfully fuse this granular analysis of a line item to the entire project execution downstream as well. Although it might seem a bit of work upfront, this is usually a one-time effort that is done perhaps on an annual basis or a semi-annual basis, depending on how volatile the market is. But after that point, you're set, right? This becomes your library that you can go to and then you can easily create a cost estimate within a few clicks, right? And the third aspect, how CivitBuild helps the contractors, is by accelerating, the cost estimation process that then would help creating a competitive bid. The way that we would do it, keeping in times right now with the uptake of BIM that we're seeing across the globe, with the contractors have a BIM model that has been given to them by their client, then they could easily import it into CivitBuild, extract all the line items, and those line items automatically become part of the BOQ, along with the quantities, of course. So all you need to do then is to really get the reference from your standardized list of line items, and you already have the rate analysis there. So you really, within a few clicks, are able to come to a credible cost estimate. Let me just quickly take you through, giving you a glimpse of the screens as well, from the actual product itself, so that it doesn't seem like we're just looking at slides endlessly. Now, what you're seeing in front of you is really a rate card with a schedule of rates, and this is really a combination of okay, which year am I picking for my list of line items, and what is the location as well. So if it is a project, let's say in a northern part of the country versus the southern part of the country, where there's a difference in terms of certain line items and so on and so forth, you can maintain an exhaustive list of library of all these segregated lists, right? So you can assign these rate cards and the schedule of rates to specific offices, specific geos, and anybody who is working within that particular zone and has access to this specific project, will be able to easily, invoke these rate card and the line items, and then build the cost estimate very easily. And of course, in a standardized way, with all the rates that are already part of the library. As you can see, these are mimicking the line items that you would typically find in the field, with the definitions of these line items that are pretty industry standard, and very much in detail. So the rate analysis for each of these line items can be done within CivitBuild, and you can also nest them under specific activities. Like, for example, the reinforced cement concrete can have its own line items, which you will then be able to use downstream when you are trying to do any activity based breakdown of your work items. Just as a double click, now if you go into any specific line item, what you're seeing in the inset on the screen is really the breakdown of that particular line item into the three basic components that we talked about previously, which is the materials, the labor, and the machinery. Now you can add as many materials as you would like, the materials that will go into it, and all the labor categories, and and the machinery as well. For all these three, I just want to point out to the audience that we have separate library lists for materials, for labor, for machinery. So if you have like a standardized categories of labor, let us say, you will be able to invoke it into the rate analysis. So these line items are all tied to individual libraries as well, right? The second part that I wanted to show you was really the ability to extract the line items and the quantities from a BIM model. And as you can see, this is allowing you from the Revit plugin to invoke your model, extract all the line items with the quantities, and then use it in your cost estimation. And like I said, if you connect it to the rate analysis library, it becomes very, very easy for you to create a cost estimate. Now, the second problem or a question or a challenge that we've seen across the industry is the activity-based costing. Now, when we talk about activity-based costing, it becomes very tedious. There is a perception that it can be very difficult to do, and really merging your BOQ that you get at a bid level to an activity-based costing for your execution can be quite tedious and challenging. However, as we all know as a community, the activity-based costing really helps all the stakeholders in the project set up the execution of the project quite streamlined way. It allows you to have a visibility in terms of how different resources are being utilized for each activity and so on and so forth. But it can be quite challenging, but not in CivitBuild. Because what we offer in CivitBuild is a very connected process. So whatever you're entering, let's say at a earlier stage of the project life cycle, is filtered down into the subsequent processes or the downstream processes in a way that is relevant to that particular step. Now, what do I mean by that? When you are entering your BOQ and creating a cost estimate at the bid level, if you noticed, we already had grouped all these line items based on a category, right? And the similar categories can be utilized at the activity level as well. That helps you create um, an activity-based costing quite easily. And this really helps tie the resources and the schedule by having a very strong rate analysis engine. Like we discussed in the first part, CivitBuild really has a very robust rate analysis engine at its core, right? So that really helps to tie the resources and the schedule together and really set all the contractors up for a very successful project execution. There are two parts to it. One is creating an execution level view with a detailed activities, including data analysis, and then generating automated reports related to the activity, schedule, and cost. Now, the first part of it, when you look at it, you would want like I said in the beginning, a view in terms of where am I allocating my resources? And when I say resources, it is all three: your labor, your materials, as well as your machinery, in terms of activities on a project, so that you can have a view in terms of the relative productivity, right? Let's say you have a very similar activity of pouring a slab in two different towers, and you have allocated a set of resources to tower A and a set of resources to tower B. It also helps create that sort of a comparative view in terms of productivity, right? And of course, track it at that particular activity level as well. So you will be able to then mitigate any risks that are developing in terms of successful execution of that activity. So you're not waiting to this problem to aggregate or this risk to aggregate at a project level. You're catching it at an activity level. You can address it at an activity level, and that really helps you in addressing issues quickly and staying profitable while minimizing your risks, right? And of course, all of this is possible because the system allows you to generate a lot of automated reports that are related to activity schedule and cost. Again, just as a view of the solution itself, right? You can see that an activity-based, costing is what is generated by the system, right? So you can break it down phase-wise and structure-wise, itemized cost breakdowns for precise budgeting exercise as well. So what do I mean by that? So let's say you have like 4 towers that you need to build. You want to break it down into 2 phases, 4 phases. You can do that. And then you can break it down at a tower level as well. And within a tower, you can actually then have a floor level. And in fact, you can actually break it down to an unit level as well. And the same thing can be applicable to any other infrastructure project as well within CivitBuild. So the system actually gives you to create your own structure in which you would like to break down these BOQ line items. And then set up for the proper budgeting exercise, and then that kicks off the tracking and monitoring process as well. Now, as you can see, this particular screen indicates a couple of different things. On the left, you can see that the structure of the project is now set based on the activity. And this has already broken down the BOQ line items in the way that you as a contractor would like to control or define your execution, right? And this is your execution view, not the BOQ view that the client would be interested in. So once you have set or defined the way that you would like to execute this project and allocate these resources, the structure is set on the left side. Then it also brings in the schedule part of it. So you can define the start and end date for all these activities. And it also brings in the cost aspect of it, because you have this rate analysis engine that we spoke about before that helps tie everything together. So it's not a bunch of disconnected spreadsheets where somebody has to punch in all this information in different systems. And sometimes when you sync up all this information, there is a lot of loss or inaccuracies that creep in that basically will become very difficult to even find out, honestly, till it is too late, right? So this is a very robust screen that actually marries a lot of processes together and gives a very comprehensive view to the contractor in terms of schedule, quantities, and costs together. Before we move on to the third question, I just want to remind the audience, like we're going to take the questions towards the end. I'm sure there are certain questions that you would like to ask. So, just keep them building in your mind, and then just note it down, and then we can discuss towards the end of the conversation as well. Now, the third challenge that we've seen in the construction industry overall is meaningful real-time project tracking is very difficult. A lot of tools promise it, but it is very difficult to achieve. Now, in the construction industry, obviously, there are a lot of moving pieces. And unless you have a system that is built to understand that variability, that is, a second nature to a construction project, you cannot really expect real-time insights. If a tool is basically saying, I'm going to give you real-time insights, oh, by the way, you have to still punch in a lot of information first, then I'm going to show it in a dashboard sort of a thing, that sort of I don't know if we can really call it a very meaningful real-time insights. Yes, you still have to punch in the field progress and so on and so forth, but the insight really will come if you're able to marry it with a lot of other related information. Let's say from a material consumption point of view, let's say from a schedule point of view, let's say from let us say procurement point of view. So if you are not able to bring all these perspectives along with the physical progress, it becomes really difficult to draw any insights, right? And that is what we're saying CivitBUILD provides. What we are offering, of course, there are a few points that I've listed here, and we'll go over them one by one. We are providing bite-sized information snapshots that are connected to the project data. Now, we understand that a foreman or a supervisor who is on site is really having multiple priorities, running around. He just wants to see the information that is really relevant to him so that it will aid in decision making. We understand that. And that's why we emphasize on giving information that is relevant to that particular stakeholder as only, not overwhelming with a lot of dashboards and so on and so forth, right? We also can generate very detailed progress reports that are broken down work-wise, activity-wise. And this is only possible because of the previous two steps that you see. And you will see the same theme in the next three questions that Premnath is going to address as well, because if you do not set up your project and your items and your work in a certain way, all these downstream processes become very difficult to achieve. And If you don't set it up in the right way, then you'll end up punching a lot of information that is discrete, that is not connected, and can lead to a lot of confusion downstream, right? The third part is specifying resource consumption reports is something that we already have built in, which is plan versus actual, monitoring utilization and efficiency of plant and equipment, so on and so forth. And this, especially the plan versus actual or the monitoring the utilization part of it becomes really important for the contractors to really have a real-time view in terms of how to move things or how to change things so that they don't really have to wait towards, like, let's say the end of the month, or let's say the end of like 3 months or so on and so forth before it is too late. Right? And the fourth part that we also provide is really a project cost to complete reports. So we are never really losing the eye on the ball. What I mean is every step, every execution that is happening on a day-to-day basis, we are always having the contractor have a view where he's knowing, what would be the projected cost to complete. So that if there is any adjustment that he can do now, to make sure that it's a profitable execution towards the end, we help in delivering that. And all of this obviously is built on a comprehensive mobile application that captures all the functions that you would like to tackle on the go. We don't overwhelm the application with a lot of clutter. We provide whatever is meaningful for a field operations and when things that you do on the go, and that's what we provide on our mobile application as well. Now, as you can see, this is a screenshot from our product. Excuse me. This provides bite-sized information in a very meaningful way, and if there are certain KPIs that the contractor specifically tracks, that is something that we can incorporate into these as well, right? And this P&L will provide you a snapshot, not just at a project level, but also at an aggregated portfolio level, if you choose to do that. Because as you perhaps already know from the setup that Dijo had done, CivitBUILD actually allows you to aggregate multiple projects to a portfolio level, assigning them to a particular entity. So this P&L can just not be at a project level, it can also be at a portfolio level, where multiple projects are aggregated. And coming to the timely reports, like what you're seeing is a screenshot of what a monthly progress report looks like, where you're comparing the executed quantity versus the balanced quantity. And as you can see, the pre-structure, it is the same as the activity-based structure that you had defined for your own project execution. This particular screenshot is essentially defining the resources part of it, right? Planned versus actual consumption, highlighting any variance in the quantity and cost. Now, as you can see, there are multiple different parts to this, right? One is, of course, you have the resource names on the left. So this is a list of resources that are used in this particular project for a particular structure, right? And you can filter it from a particular day, let's say the start of the project till date. It will give you what was the planned quantity of that particular material, let us say cement 43 grade, and it'll also give you the actual quantity that is being consumed. And if there is any variance, either in the cost or the quantity, that is also shown in the report. Now, this gives you a very comprehensive view at a material level, which is fantastic, right? Because that will help you, set up your procurement strategies and then compare it against your inventory, maybe negotiate with a vendor who is giving you a better price because you still have certain time before you can procure the materials, so on and so forth. So all these decisions you can really take in a very informed way with reports like these. And like I was saying in the fifth point previously, this gives you a snapshot of the mobile application. We continue to really strive to keep this up to date and keep improving this. But as you can see on the home page, right, it gives you a menu of items that we, in our experience in talking to the clients, in looking at the market overall, have curated a list of activities that we believe are something that the contractors try to tackle on the go. Like, for example, the daily progress reports and such. The good part about it is the daily progress reports or any of the activities that you do on this mobile um, are hand in glove in terms of the structure that you have set up for your project execution. For example, if you want to record the progress of a line item within, let's say, the particular apartment or a flat within, let's say, a tower that we talked about previously, you will have to sort of drill down to the unit level or the apartment level to see those line items that are assigned to that particular person, and then he can record the progress within it. Right, so it controls the data quality that is coming in as well, so that people are just not randomly entering numbers, and the people in the office are basically sitting down and scratching their head saying, hey, how does this quantity map back to my project? So there's a lot of check and balance at the entry point of the data itself. For the next part, I would like to hand it over to Premnath to take this forward. Premnath has a very deep understanding of the entire process of construction, and I'm sure you will find his session pretty valuable as well. Premnath, over to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kashyap. Thank you for giving the insights of project management processes of CivitBUILD. Giving the details how a project can be very well managed in CivitBUILD. With better control and optimizing the costs to and increase the profit. Thank you. Further to going from the project management, there is a substantial part of work is being outsourced in the construction industry, wherein it is very important to reconcile and track the work done by the subcontractors in terms of the cost of the work done and the what is the physical progress of the work. Normally, it is maintained manually, which is a really cumbersome process and very difficult to track real time. So these are the challenges which CivitBUILD as a comprehensive end-to-end ERP solution helps the subcontractor works to be managed and tracked very well within the system. So what happens is the BOQ, which is finalized as a part of my estimation, and we do the planning, right? So the work planned has to be tracked through the daily progress reports. So CivitBUILD has a provision to automating the daily field reports to track what is the physical progress in terms of providing the measurement sheets, that is LBDs of the work done, and what are based on the work done, it will give you the approval for the contractor bills against what is the work is outsourced to him, how much he has completed, how much work is certified, and based on that the contractor bills are certified and processed for the payment. So the progress of the work in which you will get a comprehensive detailed report, okay, which may spread out for multiple years, because based on the size of project, if you are having 2 to 3 years of a project, right, where you will have a various months field reports, you can consolidate and get a overall progress for a project for a specific date in one shot. So what you are seeing here is a daily progress report, which tracks the what are the items of work that has been outsourced to the subcontractor, what is the planned quantity, and out of that, how much has been executed, what is the percentage complete, right? And what is the materials consumed to do that work, right? And what are the next day's activities, what are the issues you are getting. So those all are tracked in the daily progress reports, and also the project team can upload the site progress reports with the photos, so that the CXOs can see the progress happening at the sites, any issues are coming in a real time, right? And CivitBuild has a mobile app, through which the project team can update all the daily progress work, very easily. Similarly, when you are talking of a subcontractor payment, right, as you're talking of a long project period, right, you need to have a consolidation. Okay, what is overall work against what is being done and what is the cumulative payment. Subcontracting will maintain the current work done, previous and the cumulative, right? So across the period. So that flexibility will help the management and also the billing and accounting team to really check the progress versus what is the payment they are making. So that will optimize the cost that is incurred due to the subcontracting of the works, right? The other challenges from the project management execution of the projects is like aligning the resource requirement, and getting the resources. When I say resources, it will be materials, machineries, manpower, right? So all these three critical components for the project execution, you need to have a near accurate requirements at the what is the planned or budgeted cost, okay, and that you have to track at real time, which can be very tedious if you are following a manual process. With the seamless integration across all the modules of CivitBuild, right? Estimation, budgeting, right? Planning, execution, project requirements. Okay. This has become very easy in CivitBuild to manage very effectively, right? So based on the BOQ, the bill of material is generated in the system, and the budgeted rate will be tracked whenever you are procuring the materials or the labor. Okay, so it will help you to track what you have budgeted versus what you are, purchasing, at what cost you are purchasing. So you can check the real time, and based on that you can control the cost of the project effectively in real time, right? Similarly, tracking of material across various projects. It may happen that when the organization is running multiple projects across the location, right? There are sometimes there are unused materials are lying in the various project warehouse. But due to lack of visibility or tracking, it may happen that you may procure even though that material is lying at a different warehouse. So CivitBuild has a provision wherein it will give you the stock available across various warehouses before you go for a purchase decision, right? So with the reusability or the utilization of the materials that is available with us or with the organization, you can manage the resources very well by reducing the cost and increases the profitability. Okay, so based on the planning, right, you need to also plan your cash outflows. So once you have the planning done, what are the items of work you are executing, what is the cost, what is the material requirement. So it will give you the procurement calendar. So once you give the procurement calendar, you can see here, you can send the inquiries to various vendors, right? And get the quotation, compare the quotation digitally. So you can highlight who is the lowest, who is the highest, what is the quantity discount they are giving, terms and condition, and all things you can compare digitally in one single simple interface that will help you to shortlist the most competitive vendor at a very competitive rate, which will suit within your budgets, right? So similarly, apart from the cost, you need also do the forecasting of your material requirement. As you're talking of forecasting of cash flow or the fund requirement, and the forecasting of the material requirement, where you can see here for a project span of like about 6 months, what is the material requirement for the project and what is month-on-month requirement. This, without any interaction, the digitally approved information of the material requirement will help both project and procurement team to get the materials or the labors or the machineries right in time. Okay, you can plan well before the material is actually required at the project location. So this will help you to optimize your procurement processes, controlling the cost and buy it at a very competitive rates. Okay, so and for the finance department, you can manage your fund flows based on the work you are planned for execution. And finally, when we talk of more on the project management, right? We have the subcontractor management to execute the projects, then the material management, and the important part is that how in the real estate developers or builders where they are selling the units they construct, right? So it is very important to keep the track of the customer inquiries, and once you have a deal, it is equally important to get the collections or payment from the customers, to ensure that timely collection of the payments will help you to manage your fund flows very efficiently. So the CivitBuild module of for the real estate developers will keep track of the leads that are being automatically generated from various platforms, social medias, like property sites. It has an integration add-on facility where you can integrate with like proper magic breaks, right? So like that, you can integrate and generate the leads automatically in the system, and it is assigned to the various, say, your sales team members, right? So it is very important to track that inquiry in terms of follow-ups, communication, what is happening, what are the customer specific requirements, what the customers are looking in your project. So that can be very effectively updated in the system, to give the insight of the customer requirements and helps sales, marketing, as well as the execution department to address those requirements, right? Through a analytical dashboard, where you can drill down and see the inquiries. When I will show you a few dashboards which will give a really good insight of the lead management, right? So once you have the deals done, once the inquiry is converted into a deal, then it is very important to track their collection schedule, generating the demand letters, keep comparing what is the vacancies, how to promote the vacant units for sales. Okay, so those all analytical information is provided through a dashboard. Here you can see the project-wise inquiries coming. What is the which source of information is giving you the maximum leads? What is monthly trends, right? So those are the things. Then collection-wise, which of the projects are having good collection? What is your month-on-month collection claims that you can take from your customers, right? Okay, what is your outstanding, how much is actually received based on the plan, right? Even you can see what is based on the thresholds, like 0 to 10%, how many are pending, 15 50 to 70. So you can create your own threshold and identify, and you can track the customers who are having a large amount pen dues from them. So you can analyze it project wise, customer wise, building wise. So it will give a lot of flexibility for you to track the payment collections, and collecting the amount well in time will help to ease up your fund flows. Okay, so we have covered. Of course, CivitBuild is a very exhaustive ERP solution for the construction enterprise, giving these insights. We can drill down more in terms of the functionality, right? So to make you to understand more on the product, right? What we're offering here is. Typically for CivitBuild free plan for 1 month, we give one user. But under this special offer, who participated in the webinar, we are giving 2 users for free under the free plan. Okay, so to register, what we need to do is you can access our application from mobile or from web application. Go to the CivitBuild in our portal, get registered, okay, by putting minimum information of company name, email ID, and phone number. Set your own passwords. Okay, so once you are done, you will get a link to access the CivitBuild application, the entire suite. So based on the your requirements, you can go through the modules of your interest, and if any questions are there, we have a session free hand-holding sessions for you and your team to get more insights, more clarification on your doubts, and have a better understanding of the CivitBuild, which is specifically developed for organization like yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Prem, Kashyap, as well as Dijo for taking up this insightful session. Now, I like to request participants to ask any of the questions or the doubts that they are having. I can see that couple of the participants have inquired or raised certain questions. So I like Kashyap as well as the Dijo and Prem to take up the answers for them. Over to you guys. Shall I take one on the one question? Shall I read out any of them for you?
Yes, please, Swapnil. Yes, that's
Yeah,
better.
that's better. So I see that the last question that we had, that was from Mr. Vivek. Vivek has asked us a question. Yeah. So Vivek has asked a question. How does the CivitBuild ensure that the knowledge repository of the work item, cost, rate cards, and resource libraries remains up to date and adaptable to the regional or the client specific requirement? And the second question that Vivek has asked also, how does it assist users in standardizing processes across the multiple projects?
Right. So, Swapnil, as you've seen, I attempted to answer that question while the session was going on, but uh, not in the interest of time, I'm not going to sort of go over that again. But it makes it easier by giving the option of uploading any versions that you have. If you don't have something as an organization, there are templates that you can download to easily change them and then re-upload them and use them. The process for setting up this sort of a library that is relevant to that particular project based on the location, type of project, so on and so forth, it's the same process for multiple projects as well. So that sort of brings in the standardization when you try to aggregate the data over a portfolio level.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question. If not, Vivek, definitely we can take up a follow-up question.
Yeah. I can see another question that is from Mr. Strujan Zuzare. So the question is that how CivitBuild takes into the consideration the cost changes or cost to complete in case of the escalation in the changes. I can see some more questions
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, basically, for any project, uh, you have a standard libraries where the cost of an item is determined. Plus, regarding the rates, as you execute the project in various different geographical locations, CivitBuild has a provision for maintaining different rate cards. Like, for example, you are doing a project in New Delhi and you are doing a project in Mumbai, right? You can maintain different rate cards because the labor rates, the material rates may vary, right? So you maintain those cost of the items, and which you eventually use in the projects you are executing in this specific location, right? So in case of escalations, there is a provision when you are doing the cost analysis or rate analysis. There is a provision to where you can update the factor of escalation, which you can use it at your discretion when you're doing the cost analysis, right? I hope you are not mixing with the escalation due to the period, right? See, there are two type of escalation can happen, whether maybe the rate change in the rates, that is one, or maybe the change in the or the extension of the project period. So those both factors can be considered while you are doing the cost analysis, and based on that, your cost to the project is implicated. Hope we answered your queries.
Okay. So I can see there are the more questions that are there. Okay. So I see that Mr. Om Prakash has asked a question. Is this customizable as per the
Yeah.
enterprise needs, or it's a SaaS model?
See, as you know, CivitBuild is a product specifically developed for the construction enterprises. With our experience for last 20 years in developing this solution, most of the processes are built in and they're ready to use because we are implementing the industry standard practices. However, yes, as an enterprise solution, always each organization has their own specific requirements. As a being a product development company, we have a configuration to do the customization. If any specific changes or customization you require, we are open to take up those changes after the study and the requirement analysis. Yes.
Okay. I can see a couple of more questions are there. So one is from Harshal. So Harshal has that, how CivitBuilds benefits contractors?
Yeah. See, the journey of a contractor, if it starts from the bid management till finalization of the accounts. So if I would say the entire project life cycle, starting from bidding for a project till you finalize a project balance sheet, everything is covered. So I would say starting from what is the rate at which you have taken the project, what is the actual estimate happening, what is the material rates you are buying, what are the labor rates or the machinery rates which you are hiring, whether they are within the rates that are considered during the when you're submitting for the bidding or at the time of estimation, that can be easily covered. There are many advantages you get. There are certain tangible benefits and there are intangible benefits. If you say you can get the consolidated report of a project summary, like what is the budgeted rate, what is my estimation, how much I've executed, what is my, because during the project execution the rates may vary. As we know, the market is very dynamic. The labor rates, machinery rates, material rates will vary. So considering that, what will be my cost of completion, where is my profitability is affecting, should we go for escalations, like whatever the outsourced work, are we executing within the scheduled time without any variation managements, any additional work is coming in, or the project scope what I have taken, right, whether is there any deviations or any variations are coming, and I am able to very effectively tracking those. So those all are being very well tracked using the system. Yes, there are definitely many advantages. With further communication, we can give you the more benefits that you can get by using CivitBuild.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Prem. I see that couple of the more questions came from Mr. Srujan. The first question that Mr. Srujan has asked, that is, how CivitBuild address the change management? I just repeat the question again. So the question is, how CivitBuild address the change management?
Yeah. See, definitely, because as we know, whenever we do an estimation after getting a project, right, we maintain the revisions, I would say the estimates, and in case of there are any changes happening, we maintain the revisions. So when the revision happens, it may be due to the change in the quantity of the given BOQ, or there could be certain additional scope of work, which could be a change management. So we maintain the revision of estimate and we can track the change management that is happening. So whatever the change management happening, that is having the impact on the cost, and also it is linked to your billing. So there is a percentage of work up to which you can take as a change management, and other than that, the separate work order needs to be released from the customer. So the whatever the change management is happening, starting from the where you are bidding till you execute the project, they are seamlessly linked.
Okay. So there are two more questions from Mr. Srujan. I'll take the first, that most of the may have this thing in a mind. The question is that does the CivitBuild is compatible with MS Project or Primavera?
Yeah. It is. Yes, it is. It is integrated with Microsoft Project already. It is a two-way integration. the base schedule has to the base schedule has to happen in CivitBuild, and it is seamlessly integrated with MS Project, where you can transfer all the tasks with the library, resource library, and you can update. We have an add-on for MS Project. And for Primavera, we are already working on an integrator for P6. And in the maybe down the line, you will have an add-on utility to integrate Primavera as well.
Okay. There is one more question from the student side, and that question is, do CivitBuild helps in document control?
Kashyap, would like to take it?
Sure, Prem. So right now, in terms of attaching certain documents that are relevant to that particular project, we have the facility to upload the documents that are relevant to that particular process right now. But if it is a full-blown document control vis-a-vis with version controls of drawings and things like that, we typically have integrations with third-party tools. Anything you would like to add, Prem, to that, or Dijo?
No, Kashyap, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just one point I would like to add.
Mhm.
We have that as Kashyap already mentioned. Yes, we have an exhaustive document management with the private, and for any project management where we share a lot of drawings, very confidential document. CivitBuild has a provision to public and private sharing, wherein the confidential document can be shared within the concerned related stakeholders. So that facilities are available, and also system keeps track of who has downloaded. That keeps the history of that, which will help you to, as an audit purpose, it will be helpful. So those functionalities are all readily available across the system.
Okay. So we'll take up the next question. That is from Mr. Shubham. So Shubham has
Sorry to
asked.
interrupt there. I think we didn't answer one question from Om Prakash with regards to the SaaS model. Just to address that question, yes, CivitBuild is available in all the three different models. You can opt for the perpetual licensing, or it can be in SaaS, in which you can take the advantage of the cloud services what we are offering from different regions. Or if in case you have your own tenant in either in AWS or in Azure or in Google, you can have the subscription model even for enabling your services at any point of time. Over to you, Swapnil.
Yeah. So I like to take up the next question. That is from Mr. Shubham. So Shubham has asked, is there a trial version available?
Yes, I think Prem has already given a few slides, the last few slides, but no problem. We will touch base with you, and we can drop you an email how you can avail the trial license from the environment, so that you will be having 10 to 15 days, the time frame to play around with the application. And I would deeply recommend to have some training from our team, because it's a fully integrated ERP system, one which you need to know the process, what is happening from A to Z. This will enable you to have some proper control or proper flow through, or the workflow can be get enabled as per your requirements, and that will add some better value while you're running through the trial version. To answer your question, yes, trial versions are available for stipulated number of days. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just take one more question that is related to challenges related to CivitBuild implementation.
I think Prem would be able to take this question.
Yeah. Before I take up this, just as a general information, I would like to inform that CivitBuild is integrated with the Autodesk Revit for taking the quantity taken from the BIM models for architectural and structural quantities. We have an add-on available, and we are Autodesk development partners, wherein we work closely with Autodesk Revit Revit modeler, wherein we can take out the quantities, and those BOQs are imported into the CivitBuild and further processed for the estimation, for generation of bill of materials and project execution. So anyone who is using the BIM model for their projects, we can discuss further on that, like how the quantity can be extracted and how it can be taken further. By that, we can have a very efficient and very quick quantity takeoff from the models. So anyone having those such kind of models available, we'll discuss further to how this can be done in CivitBUILD, right? So coming to the question of what are the challenges in implementation? See, I would say CivitBUILD is very simple and easy to adopt. So typically in as is implementation, we will from the kickoff meeting to go live, it is typically 45 to 60 days maximum. Okay. As a product implementation adoption, I don't fear challenge. The major issue would be how my master data is organized and how effectively we can import and prepare before we start the training sessions. That is one of the challenges which we face when there is no data, proper data available during the implementation. That will create a lot of hiccups. That is point number one. Second is, if you have any standard SOPs, right, that we need to check before we go for the training session. So to ensure that whatever your SOPs you are following, are they configured in the CivitBUILD application or not? Second. Third is forming a core team and making them available during the training and during the implementation process, because it is a kind of an investment which you do it for 1.5 months, wherein the core user team is properly understand how the system works, what are the configuration required, like suppose if you are doing some imports, how the configuration has to be done, what is your chart of accounts, what is your material library, activity library, rate analysis. So those things has to be configured. That is the major challenge before the when we start going live. So if it is taken care, the further process will be very easy, because the processes what you have implemented is very which are very well used and as a standard industry practices which you have used. So adoption, we don't see a challenge, but the prerequisites of preparation of data, the users, is a major challenge. If it is taken care, in 45 to 60 days, we can go live from the system.
Okay. Okay. I can see there is one more question that was there from Mr. Just a minute. It was Mr. Mohammed. Just let me scroll through the screen again. So it was Mr. Mohammed Rashid Khan who has asked a question that is related to pricing. What is the pricing for the CivitBUILD? And currently he is using RIB, Candy, and Tally. So, Mohammed, to answer this question, I see we will also need to, because we are a global provider for the software, and the region to region, the prices do differ. So, can you help me with what region you are, so that we can answer this question correctly? Any more questions? Meantime, Mohammed comes with the answer for the region. If there are any questions from anyone's side, they can take up the question. We still have another 3 minutes time, and then we will wrap up the session.
I think we can touch base with Mr. Mohammed if in case once we have the information on the regions what it belongs to, and then we can address that particular question related to the pricing part of it.
Yeah. I don't see any more questions. Yeah, I see that there is. We are taken up all the questions; those are there. I see that one more question that is from the Mr. Om Prakash. So, could you give some example of enterprises using CivitBUILD in Mumbai region?
Sorry, Swapnil, can you come again?
So, enterprises, those who are using CivitBUILD in the Mumbai region.
Okay. Okay, we will share the list. Yes.
Yeah, we can share that list.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
otherwise, Mr. Om Prakash, you can even refer to our website. You will definitely figure out certain good names. Those are already onto the Civil Build.
Yeah, Talib Shamsi is there. Yeah, we can give the list actually. Talib Shamsi is there. Earlier, in fact, we have worked with Lodhas and Rahejas for their Bellissimo projects in Lower Parel and Rahejas and Santa Cruz. So we have worked with both on the contracting as well as on the real estate. However, we'll share the customers who are using in Mumbai region.
Yeah, I'm just giving the contact details for our regional manager, so
Yes.
who can touch base with them, and he can provide the complete list to Mr. Om Prakash in that case. Any more questions from the audience? Yeah, I see that there are no further questions that are there. Yeah. So I just like to thank all the participants for taking an effort, putting a time, and coming to the what to say this webinar. And I do like to also tell you that this webinars or the Civil Build related webinars or more topic specific webinars, we will be coming up further in the upcoming few days, and we will also notify you for these webinars. Also, I like to highlight that even if you want to go through this webinar again, we will be sharing the recording of this webinar shortly with all the participants for the same. In case you need any of the further help or the support, you can reach out to us from our website or even from our executives number. Thank you all, and thank you team for
Swapnil, if you
making
don't
this.
mind, can we take up a final poll if
Sorry,
it is ready to share?
sorry.
Poll
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, poll questions. Yeah. So before we go there, we can definitely have a poll. So I'm just releasing that poll now. So I request all the participants to fill in the poll. It may not take more than 1 minute for you to take up this poll.